When it comes to Pokemon attack animations, Game Freak has this habit of giving us awesome animations for an attack in one generation, and then giving us the bare minimum of that same attack animation in the next generation. In this video, I want to go over some of the moves that, while still great in Pokemon games, received nerfs in the animation department. These are my top 5 moves that used to have better animations. Number 5. Brave Bird is a move that was introduced in Diamond and Pearl. The original Diamond and Pearl. It was reserved for the Starly line, but Blaziken could also learn it if you managed to trade him into your game. The animation was a bit lackluster in Gen 4, but in later generations... You see, Brave Bird used to have this awesome animation where the Pokemon using the attack would launch itself into the air and then kamikaze itself directly at the opponent. It makes sense why the user would take damage upon using the move. However, Brave Bird is now just a shell of its former self. Your Pokemon basically manifests this boogery color of wings above its head and then fires them at the opponent. The animation of Brave Bird from previous generations looks deadly, and you could feel the recoil damage when the attack lands. The Gen 6 and 7 animations really took inspiration from the anime, and it was awesome. But this? It's simple, sure, but I'd rather see the old animation updated for Scarlet and Violet. Number 4. Oh, Game Freak. It took you precisely one generation to take one of the coolest animated moves from one of the coolest Pokemon introduced in Sword and Shield and just completely neuter it. Watching Dragapult launch Dreepy from its head like they're missiles being shot from Samus's arm cannon was not only amazing, but it was hilarious. Watching the move animation in Sword and Shield gave Dragapult life, and it even lived up to its Dex entry. However, in Scarlet and Violet, Dragapult just launches a beam from its mouth, I guess. It's so uninspired, and while I understand putting focus towards the new Pokemon, it couldn't have been that much of an issue to reuse the same animation from the last games for these new games. You did Dragapult dirty, Game Freak. You did it dirty. Number 3. Phantom Force was such a cool move when it was introduced in X and Y. It's a 2-turn move where your Pokemon disappears into the void on its first turn, and then on the second turn they reappear and lay a devastating attack on the opposing Pokemon. However, when it comes to Scarlet and Violet, the animation when that attack takes place is just gone. You get a ghostly aura in place of the Pokemon reappearing, and while the move itself hasn't been nerfed, it just doesn't look as good as it used to. Why would you change this animation, Game Freak? Number 2. When it came to Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I didn't choose Rowlet as my starter once. Primarina is my second favorite Pokemon of all time, and I really came around to liking Incineroar. It's not to say that I didn't like the Rowlet line, because I do, but I just didn't like it as much as I liked the Poplio line or the Litten line. That being said, Spirit Shackle was an awesome attack, and watching Decidueye knock an arrow in its wing and then launch it at the opponent was amazing. I'm a fan of the animations of Sparkling Aria and for Darkest Lariat, but Spirit Shackle was by far my favorite of the 3. Scarlet and Violet took every bit of what made Spirit Shackle awesome and replaces it with this. Yeah, you still get the arrows that are shot at the opposing Pokemon, but it's hard to believe that they're coming from Decidueye, and actually, I don't believe that the arrows are coming from Decidueye. They're just sort of falling out of the sky like Arceus is dropping them. Now, it should be noted that other signature moves have also been downgraded with their animations. Pyro Ball, anyone? You took the time to animate this amazing move in Sword and Shield, and then 3 years later you turn it into that. You allowed Decidueye to keep its animation for Spirit Shackle in Sword and Shield, so why did you change it for Scarlet and Violet? Before we get to number 1, I just want to remind you to like the video if you've enjoyed it thus far, and subscribe if Pokemon content is what you enjoy. And now, number 1. The Poison type is your boy TrainerJames' favorite type in Pokemon. I've been a fan of Poison type Pokemon ever since Ash battled Koga in the episode of the anime titled
The Ninja Poke Showdown!
Some of my favorite Pokemon of all time are Poison types: Salazzle, Dragalge, Crobat, Muck, and Alolan Muck. Sludge Bomb was the go-to move for Poison types who were more special than physical, and Poison Jab was for those who were more physical than special. But then, in 2007, Game Freak released the Generation 4 games, Pokemon Diamond and Pokemon Pearl, and with those games came the Poison move for Poison lovers everywhere. With a whopping 120 base power and only a 70% accuracy, Gunk Shot was introduced. And I mean, Poison Jab was still preferred because it didn't miss, but a late teens TrainerJames loved Gunk Shot, and you can bet your past Simeon that I was using it. But in 2013, when Game Freak decided to make the jump from DS Pokemon games to 3DS Pokemon games, not only did the games go from 2D to 3D, but Gunk Shot got an animation upgrade. We're hurling loaded trash cans at the opposing Pokemon, and I freaking love it. However, Gen 6 would go on to be the only generation to feature this animation for Gunk Shot outside of Pokemon Go, which still utilizes the animation, and while I still like the move, I really hope that Game Freak brings this animation back for the Gen 10 games. And those were my top 5 moves that used to have better animations. Do you agree with the list? Let me know which moves you think used to have better animations. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, have a wonderful day, and may Arceus bless you. Bye.